You're listening to Cards to the Moon, a podcast about trading cards from both a collector and investor perspective. We hope you'll stick around for the ride as we take a deep dive into the state of the hobby, share some hot takes, hopefully some useful advice, and fun stories along the way. Hey all, welcome to Cards to the Moon. This is episode 101, and my name is Clark from 5Card Guys on Instagram and 5cardguys.com. Co-hosting with me, as usual, is Hyung of Integrity Sports Cards and John, who is Trade You at Recess. All right, guys, off the top, before we get into one of the bigger news this past week involving one of the more highly sought out NBA rookies in the hobby in basketball, I just wanted to remind our listeners we recorded our 100th episode last week and we held a small contest on Instagram for a 2022 Topps Chrome Blaster Box. So as promised, we'll announce the winner in this episode, but we'll do so at the very end, okay? So off the top, Cade Cunningham. He was the 2021 number 1 overall NBA draft pick and the guy that collectors were chasing in this past year's basketball card products. Well, news came out that he needs season-ending surgery on his left shin, I believe. So the question for you guys is, what are you doing if you have Cunningham's cards? And what are you doing if you don't have his cards?
For me, I'm either holding or selling because I think there's going to be a dip. I think like basketball offseason hasn't even started yet. So that's right. I'm targeting like May to July on that, right? So
if you have it, you're either holding or selling?
Yeah, I'm not. If I have something high end, I think I'm gonna hold. But
right.
If I think there's good buying opportunities regardless with Cade on some of his lower end stuff. But yeah, I think there's something there. That's why the Pistons are falling. You know, probably last place. I'm looking at Victor Wembanyama. You know, you never know, right?
That's true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What are you doing, John?
If I had Cunningham, it's pretty unfortunate, but if you had Cunningham, I would think you should hold. And if you don't have him, I really wouldn't say you should buy right now. Like, for me, Cade is still kind of in that 3-year hype period. I still probably wouldn't touch him. Like, I don't think any of us are super clear on who Cade is yet. I think there are people on the side that he's going to be a, multi-year all-star, superstar player. And there's some people that are like, I don't know. I think he's just going to be like a good, solid player, all-star appearances, but nothing spectacular. I feel like I'm a little bit more on that side. So with Cade, for me, I would probably wait till that 2-3 year hype period completely rolls over. So probably sometime next year or the end of next year, there's a lot of opportunities long-term to hold him. But if your plan from the beginning of this season was you invested in Cade and you're looking to do a bit of a quick flip, if that was the strategy to begin with, you should probably sell it and just cut your losses and use that money on something else. If your plan was, I love Cade, I think he's a future stud, I invested in a couple of numbered cards, I think for those types of people, you should probably hold. Because I'm sure at the beginning of next season, there's going to be a bit of hype on Cade, especially if they get a pretty good draft pick.
Those optic hollows, though, I'm just saying, $100. Ooh. Right? PSA 10s.
Oh, really?
That's a decent price.
Yeah, so I feel like it's like half of stuff is like way overpriced. Like obviously the golds, the NTs, the flawless. But then like there's a buying opportunity, I think, especially like because of the injury. Like everybody's, I think, gonna sell or whatever they can get out of it.
Right.
It's probably gonna hit rock bottom in May. Draft is in June or July.
I think so.
Right.
June.
So pre-hype season. So I think on the lower end stuff, there might be, especially with optic hollows and stuff, just optic in general. I think optic is like, people look at it as kind of like a very low end set still. but you could get like numbered optic stuff for for a couple $100, which is like for a number one pick. I'm like, hey, maybe roll the dice on it, like because there was volatility with Zion too, right? So
true. I like that. Yeah, I think I'm with you guys in from what I'm hearing right now. The super high end, if I have it, is too risky for me to hold. So I'm selling whatever I can get for it, knowing that I can maybe get back in, like you said, Hyung, in May when the market dips for the off season. So I'm kind of cutting my losses, something what you said, John, as well. And but for the lower end stuff, or like the optic hollows, like you're mentioning, Hyung, just now, like I think that's a pretty good price, especially for the talent that he still has. And if he's healthy and everything works out right, I think that's a decent price to get back in. So I'm gonna just monitor those, not the high end stuff, but the optic hollows, even the prisms, right? Like there might be good deals a few months down the road. And I don't know. I don't think the Pistons are going to get Wemby, but that would be amazing if the Pistons did. It would be a super team, super young team.
Speaking of Wemby, like for the hobby, I think that's going to be great. He's going to be a huge chase, an absolute monster. If you see like videos, he's going to be trouble in the league. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He's going to be trouble.
It's like you've seen like footage where he takes these jumping 3-pointers. Like that's unblockable.
Yeah, like a layup 3-pointer.
Yeah, it's like he shoots it 10 feet in the air. Yeah. You can't block that.
That's
and
hilarious.
He gets it in. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm excited for that though. Yeah, Topps Chrome too, right?
Yeah. So it's absolutely going to be a huge chase, and I think that'll be good for the hobby for sure. I agree. All right. We hope Cade recovers quickly and definitely brings good value to his collectors as soon as next year. All right, let's move on to our regular weekly segment we call Hobby Headlines. So today I want to go over some of the major MLB signings that occurred in the past few weeks and how it may or may not impact their card values. So there's a bunch on this list, but we'll go through it at a good pace. And I only chose the bigger signings. Okay. First, Kevin Kiermaier to the Blue Jays. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I was like, throw that one out. He's the one who stole those signs off Kirk. Remember when he slid into home plate and Kirk dropped the sign? He's the one who stole it.
I saw that. Now he plays for the Jays. He's part of the home team. No, I was just kidding. That was a minor signing, but I'm glad we have him. I'm glad we have him on the Jays for his defense. But let's actually start off with two pitchers. Justin Verlander, obviously, is a big signing to the Mets for 2 years, $86.7 million.
Crazy.
That's crazy. And Jacob deGrom to the Rangers, 5-year, $185 million contract. So, yeah, Verlander and deGrom, what do you think about their card values playing for their new teams?
Well, I think Verlander is underpriced in general. Like, this guy has been absolutely phenomenal the last 5 seasons, and that's in the latter parts of his 30s. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't think value of his card at this point should matter if he goes or it plays an effect on him, because I think he's established his career where if he retired now, he's a Hall of Famer easily, right? So for me, I think it's a huge buying opportunity, period, on Verlander, on pitchers that are kind of like in the hobby, they get no love, right? So you look back, and if we talk Sandy Koufax, or if you talk Nolan Ryan rookie cards, or stuff like that, if you had a chance to buy it, would you buy it, right? So I think there's some buying opportunity with Verlander in general. I don't think this free agency news, which is like, it's crazy how big money is thrown around these days,
right?
But it just shows you kind of like what the value is of these players. So yeah, I think Verlander for sure is a buy just in general, and I think I like the move for deGrom as well, because I think deGrom has been unreal as well. I think with Corey Seager and Semien, signing big deals with the Rangers as well. Like there's going to be opportunity for him to like he has good energy going in, right? So the Rangers have been losing. This is, I think, a good opportunity for deGrom to kind of shine, in the light. But I do like Verlander's prices more than deGrom's in terms of like I think who's overrated or underrated between the two. It is deGrom in terms of card prices. So
sorry, overrated.
Yeah, it's a little more expensive. He's a little younger.
Right,
maybe.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, you still, like, his auto, he has a Topps Real 1 red ink. I believe that's deGrom's only auto. So, it's at 5K. So, it's like, it's reached that kind of, like, pinnacle pricing point of, like, the Juan Sotos and Acuñas as a pitcher, right? So, I know it's rare because he doesn't have many autos, but you could get Verlander autos from 2005 Bowman Chrome first for like $400 or whatever it is, right? So,
well, even as I'm just looking on Card Ladder, Verlander's Topps Chrome autograph PSA 10 last sold for $11.75. I'd rather have that at that price than deGrom's red ink $5,000
exactly
price. Yeah, Johnny.
I'm with Hyung. I think I like the Verlander one. Verlander in general, I think he is going to start going into that conversation of legend, one of the legends of the game within the modern era, Hall of Fame talks. And then I think the signing to the Mets, obviously he's going to continue to have postseason opportunity. So that'll probably be a little bit of a spark. So I think as much as he is a pitcher, I like the Verlander one. deGrom, maybe I'm completely underestimating the Rangers, but I'm not a big fan of that one. I think he might have just cratered his value. And for the time being, until I can see something out of the Rangers, maybe I am undervaluing them and maybe the Rangers surprise. But for the time being, I don't know. I think the next year or two, I probably wouldn't touch deGrom and wait for his card prices to come down if you wanted him.
Right, right. The thing that, and I'll only add this, the thing that scares me about deGrom, because I'm on board with you guys. I love Verlander at his current value. He's pretty much a Hall of Famer. I kind of classify him under the same category as Clayton Kershaw, guys that just did enough throughout their career, and if they retire tomorrow, they're in, right? Yeah. And they're both champions. So I like Verlander and Kershaw for those reasons. But with deGrom, he's elite, but his health kind of scares me. He's had issues staying healthy. And, if he can't stay healthy for the majority of the 5 years, then I think his value craters at that point as well. Like if he's just pitching 10 to 12 games a year or a season. He's just got to stay healthy. And that's a big risk. And, like Hyung was mentioning, like some of his cards seem to be a little bit overvalued right now for what he's done. When he's healthy, he's elite. But yeah, 5 years, that's a long time to be consistent in pitching performance. All right, let's go on. Let's get this one out of the way. Aaron Judge, 9 years, $360 million, re-signs with the Yankees. Do you think that changes anything for his card value?
I think it's great for the hobby. I think it's great for his card value. I hope he stays in New York for his whole time, because I think he's a special type of player at the end of the day. He's a beast, and I hope he continues to do it for the sake of baseball and for the sake of the hobby. Because think, if you have all these players die off that got the hype, right? That it's going to be a repeating story of that's what the hobby's about, right? I think him getting traded to a different team can go, I think, south, especially after coming from the Yankees. Right. So if and probably Giants were the front runners, which I'm also glad that they didn't sign Aaron Judge, because I think Correa is a better fit with the Giants, right? So it's kind of like I'm happy that Judge stayed in New York, and I think it will help Judge prices in the long run for sure.
Cool. As a Yankee,
yeah.
Yeah.
Judge is sort of becoming synonymous with the Yankees. Like he's becoming an iconic player for the Yankees and in baseball in general. So him signing with the re-signing with the Yankees, I don't necessarily think that that's going to jack up his value, but I think that's going to steady his value. I think I would have guessed his values would have not done so well had he signed with somebody else. So it's a good thing all around. It's one of those weird situations where he doesn't quite get that spark that you would have liked to have seen if he signed somewhere else. But then for somebody like Judge, who's been so, he's kind of like, not necessarily on the Derek Jeter level, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like sort of these lifelong kind of Yankees they're becoming iconic with the club. Had he gone anywhere else, I think that would have really kind of changed his image a bit. So it's one of those funny situations where it doesn't necessarily spark his value, but it also doesn't bring it down, which is a good thing.
Yeah, and it's a 9-year contract, so he'll be 39 by the end of it, right? So realistically, you can expect maybe 3 to 4 years he'll be at his peak performance, right? Like where he could accrue some monster stats, hopefully, by staying healthy. And if he does that, like next 3-4 years, if he hits 40 home runs, I mean, that's just going to keep his values inflated, or at least to the level they are now, right? And then I think like you said, John, like as a Yankee, he's a great ambassador to not just the Yankees but to the game itself, MLB. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know if you guys heard the story, but I think the Yankees initially offered him $320 million, and Hal Steinbrenner asked him, "Do you want to stay a Yankee?" And then Judge says yes, and then he says, "Okay, I'll give you $360 million on the spot," and then he just signed right then and there.
Amazing.
So that's how deals get done, I guess, behind the scenes. All right, actually, Hyung, you just mentioned Carlos Correa, who the Giants ended up spending their $350 million on for 13 years for Correa.
This is the crazy thing. It's like shortstops at their peak, they're worth 25 to 30 million a year. That's the value now. And all these massive deals, they're like, this is crazy. It reminds me of like the movie Gladiator, like the Roman circus, right? Kind of like fight for your freedom. And it's like, it's gotten so massive for entertainment purposes, right? These MLB teams making massive profits. And they're investing it back to winning. This is the price of winning, that they're giving 10+ year contracts in people's like prime. So it's like when they're late 20s, even 30s, they're getting multi-million-dollar deals until they're lifers, right? So it's pretty crazy. But I'm glad for Carlos Correa that he's out of Minnesota, because I think non-marketable team wasn't good for him from the get-go. I think Carlos Correa is one of the most underrated players in the game today in terms of making an impact and providing both offensive and defensive support. So I think with him going to the Giants and him being in the limelight, and you have a guy like Brandon Crawford, was an unbelievable shortstop, move him over to second base. He's a Gold Glove shortstop, and now you have a whole different look on that Giants team, right? And for me, it's like Carlos Correa had to get out of Minnesota. So I think his prices are so cheap. His Bowman Chrome 2013 Bowman Chrome autos selling, I think, $250.
Crazy.
Which is criminal. Yeah, you know, you got a guy that he's 27 or whatever he is, and probably has a 30+ WAR at this point, right? So yeah, I think Correa, that's a big time deal. Like, I was gonna say he was the most underrated player, but after getting paid what he got paid, he might be a little overrated now, right?
Right.
So, but not under card prices though.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap.
This is great for the hobby, because you have a stud that was, in relative obscurity in terms of both pricing and in baseball in general, and he's going to, somewhere that where, like Hyung said, he's going to be more in the limelight, more a part of everyday speak and big time games and whatnot. So I think this is big for Carlos. It's big for it's probably pretty decent for it. Not huge for his prices, but I think this will definitely get him in conversations of purchasing and activity and stuff like that. So it'll help.
Yeah, I was surprised at Carlos Correa's Bowman Chrome prices. You said 200. Like his refractor numbered to 500 last sold yesterday for $325.
Crazy.
Right? BGS 9.5
Right.
Gem Mint.
Yeah.
So
there's buying opportunity, I think, for Correa. It's like that's the thing. It's like right now it doesn't make sense. It might not move, even though these big deals, these big news, it might not move for another 2 years. But then when it does, I think it will go, right? So to me, it's like there's only a limited amount. The older cards that they get, you don't see them around. People aren't flipping them anymore, right? So these are entering the vaults on a lot of basis because there's no point in flipping them. They sit sideways every year, right? So
yeah. No, I think part of it is like him playing with the Twins. Like I totally forgot. Like personally, I totally forgot about Correa when he went to the Twins.
Right.
You know, and I think I just saw in like one of Scotty B Card's video, like how look at his WAR for the past season and how well he actually performed and how underrated he was as a player.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, Correa can still play. And I think like you guys already said, when he goes to the Giants, when he goes to San Francisco, definitely will have more of the limelight there. And I mean it's he's definitely going to have his opportunity to shine in San Fran for sure. So at that price, man, that's a good gamble to me. Okay, another big signing, Trea Turner to the Phillies.
Crazy.
11 years, $300 million.
$300 million. That's what I'm saying. That equals like 27 and change for a premium shortstop, right? That's the cost. That's the cost of a premium shortstop. And I like Trea Turner is one of my favorite like baseball players. Just everything he does is he's so good. And I think he's potential future Hall of Famer as well. But you got to be excited about the Phillies team. Like that's a huge upgrade. You add in Harper, you add in Trea, Real Muto, probably the best catcher, defensive catcher in Major League Baseball. You got Wheeler Nola with Andrew Painter, McAble, and Griff McGarry coming up. So they're big time prospects, like big time arms. So you have that 1 and 2 with Nola and Wheeler, and then you have all these young studs coming up. That Phillies team, I'm telling you, they took Houston pretty challenging in a World Series game where Houston was by far the best team. They were an unbelievable team, and to even compete at that with the players they had, and to add someone like Trea Turner, I'm excited for the Phillies because I feel like they get no love, but. I'm excited to see what Trea does with Harper, to be honest. And it's going to be an exciting team. So I think Trea Turner is another guy that falls into that similar category where it's in that lull period and it's going to sit sideways. He's going to win probably another batting title. He's going to hit. He's going to play. He's going to provide premier defense. So like there's $300 million, man. That's what the MLB teams think of him too. So
it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't know about Trea Turner. I don't know if this is going to do anything to his cards. I feel like he didn't from a baseball standpoint didn't necessarily downgrade to a team, but I think from a branding standpoint, you're talking about iconic LA Dodgers and then going to Phillies are iconic themselves as well, but we're talking one of the major teams like either the Dodgers or the Yankees. So hobby wise, because of that smaller sort of branding downgrade, I feel like it's not really going to do much for Trea Turner. And regardless, Trea Turner already as a stud superstar was already completely being overlooked in the hobby anyways. So he's going to be one of those guys that's going to have to do something crazy in the season. I think for him to sort of get noticed, he'll probably be continually be one of these underrated superstars in the hobby that just kind of always gets no love. So I don't think this is going to really do anything for him.
Yeah, I love Trea Turner. Like every year I'm always looking at his card prices, and then I think one year I bought his like Bowman Chrome base rookie BGS 9.5 for like $50. And then I just flipped it for like 120 at the end of the season. Nice. And now I'm looking at his prices. It's not even that. It's cheaper than Correa's. It's like 200 for his base. auto, like 250 or 300 for his refractor, BGS 9.5. So it's incrementally going up, right? And I think, if he can also run, right? He could steal 40 to 50 base. If he does that and hits 20 to 30 home runs, I think that'll make people turn their heads. And like you said, Hyung, like playing with the Phillies, a chance to win another World Series. He's already won one in 2019. He's playing for a winning team. So I like everything about this deal. I think it's only good for Trea Turner's card values. It can only it has the potential to have his card take the next step, especially if he plays for a winning lineup. So I'm always looking at his prices.
All these cards are a great buy long term because, like I said, like these guys, it's not like it's 2019 or 2018.
Right.
We're talking, 2015, 2013. Like the supply's not as available anymore. Like there's people that already committed to, like, this is not available for sale. Like they know that Trea Turner's prices are not where it should be. They wouldn't sell a numbered Trea Turner because they're not looking to flip it because they believe in his talent, especially with all these big deals. So think about it. If these MLB teams are making long-term commitments with these guys, right? That's just paving. All they have to do is play now, be the superstar, right? You got you got paid, right? Continue your good career. You should have a Hall of Fame career, right? So for me, it's like at this play, I'm thinking long term, like because of like, can I buy it cheaper? Will it sit sideways? Probably, but will it be available when I need to buy it or want to buy it? When everybody wants it at one point,
right?
Because there's going to be a point in time where, if you believe in their talent, that's going to happen, right? So,
right. Yeah. Love Trea. I'm going to have to get another one of his cards this offseason for sure. All right. These last two guys aren't as big one of them is in terms of his contract, but they've kind of fallen off. So I want to get your opinion on these guys. Cody Bellinger to the Cubs, 1 year, $17.5 million. Still a big price tag.
You hit 200 in the big leagues and you get paid $17.5 million. How about that?
There you go. But do you guys still believe in Bellinger? I know he's a contentious guy.
I think he is a value buy. I think he's a great value buy for a team. I don't know if $17.5 million is a value buy though. But like if I would, as a Toronto fan, I would have taken a chance if the price was a lot cheaper. Like I would have loved to roll the dice because he did hit 49 home runs one season. He did, win MVP. He did, these ridiculous things. So the talent's there. It's just a matter of, can he find it again, right? So, Bellinger to the Cubs. I'm hoping that, this is a new change for him. This is the change that he needed. Change of environment. The Cubs are always building as well. So, I think if it pans out, it's going to be a great investment for Chicago. But, I mean, we'll see. Like that, I don't think that they had the right intention. Like it's the value at $17.5 million. But I just can't get over $17.5 million to justify that, right? You're rolling the dice on that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think they overpaid, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overpaid today, maybe underpaid in 2 years. Who knows, right?
Yeah, it's a gamble for sure. For sure.
Yep. In the same manner that you guys are speaking about the Cubs and taking a gamble, I'm the same way in terms of sports cards. I hope for his sake he kind of turns his career around, but hobby-wise, I don't think this is really going to do anything to his values. I'm personally not touching Cody Bellinger. I don't think anybody should. But yeah, that's where I stand. I think this is kind of like your last year show me, kind of like make it or break it, right? Like really show everyone if you still have it. And then maybe he'll prolong his career. Cause I feel like this is sort of the turning point in Cody Bellinger's like remainder of his career. So it's a wait and see kind of, I mean, I guess some people may want to throw some money at it, but I'm not touching Cody Bellinger.
And 2017 top sucks.
2016 tops.
2017 is 2017.
Sorry, 2017. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? What don't you like about it?
Just
the design.
Everything pre 2018. 2018 just set the standard. 2019 was good too. Not gonna lie.
I like 2019 a lot.
Yeah. And then downhill.
Right.
Both ends, it's like a slope.
Speaking of downhill, I'm just looking at his stats, and 2021 he batted 165, just to remind you guys.
Crazy.
And then last year, 2022, he batted 210, right? Yeah. So there's something wrong with his swing, something wrong with his mechanics, I guess. He's or maybe it's mental, maybe it's a combination. But hopefully the Cubs know what to do and gets him fixed, whatever needs fixing. But I mean, as a result, his Bowman Chrome rookie autos have plummeted. Like, it's under $200 for BGS 9.5. I remember those. That was like way more than that. Especially during the his rookie of the year season, obviously. But and his early days with the Dodgers. But I remember, like, when his prices started to plummet, like around 2021, I was still in. I'm like, this is a guy, like, out. He has that. You guys, I think you guys were out already.
No, I was
I'm
out,
like, no. I'm like, no. And then last year I'm like, okay, guys, I'm out too. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I don't know what's wrong with Cody. So I'm not gambling with Cody, but I hope that he turns things around, and great for him if he does, right? So
absolutely.
Okay. Last guy I have on the list, and I have a kind of a secondary question for this guy. Xander Bogaerts surprisingly goes to the Padres.
Crazy.
They seem to be loaded already in the infield, but they're going to have to shift things around. 11 years, $280 million. Bogaerts, what do you think?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's crazy, but he's actually the deal of this free agency, I think.
You think so?
Wow. from all the shortstops, like, based on what he's done and his production with Boston.
Right.
There's an argument that he's at, what was it, 280 million? So 25, that's 25 million a year, right? So if you take your standard shortstop value to be at 30 million for whatever WAR production that is, I'm telling you, he falls way better in terms of value of what he's actually producing for what he's costing. So I'm just throwing it out there. With that said, I mean, I knew Tatis wasn't going to stay as shortstop. That's what I knew.
Why?
Because his body's going to fill out. He has to learn to kind of play that kind of like not 100% always. Okay. That leads to injury. This is also why veterans, they know how to play like with their speed. So when they need the burst, they have the burst.
Right.
They know when to pull away and stuff like that. So I think Machado, you never know what's happening with Machado, to be honest, after next year, right? So you might lose him there. Bogaerts, you could see Tatis filling out. He's a home run hitter. He might be at third when it's all said and done, or he might be in center field when it's all said and done, or left field. And you have Juan Soto with that. At least for next year, you have Machado, Bogaerts on the left side, and then you have Soto and Tatis, and then it's crazy. Yeah, one through 5 looks good. It's like the most ridiculous lineup, but I think they need a little more work. The Padres, I think they're gonna do that. I think they're a little weak. Trent Grisham, hopefully, could step it up, but I don't think he's the guy. So I think there's gonna be other opportunities there, but I think Xander Bogaerts is the deal of the free agency, and I think his cards are also cheap. He's fairly young. He's put up pretty good career WAR numbers, so his trajectory is the same thing as all three of those. Correa, Turner, Xander Bogaerts. They're very, very similar players, and that's why I was like off of Bo Bichette for a bit, because I feel like at best Bo Bichette's going to be one of these players, right? So look at the love they're getting. That's the type of love Bo Bichette's going to get at best.
Right. Huh.
Right.
What do you think, John?
This is, I mean, when I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness, how many more bats can Padres, like elite bats, can they add? Like, holy cow, that's insane. I think Bogaerts, he's, again, sort of hobby obscurity into some sort of a limelight. So this is, I mean, to a degree, it's going to help because you're going from no value to some value. But it'll, you know, for if you're a fan of Bogaerts, I think this is great news. And Bogaerts is one of those, it's going to be like success by association, right? So if San Diego comes out crazy, just left, right, and center, getting on base, hitting bombs, I think the four of those big names, Machado, Soto, Tatis, Bogaerts, I think they'll all go up in value in their own respects. And I'm not saying Bogaerts is going to go to the moon or anything, but you could probably see some bumps happening to their prices as how successful they end up being this season.
Yeah, the Padres lineup is pretty stacked. I agree there, but Bogaerts, like I liked him as a player early on, like for someone to potentially invest in, especially playing for the Boston Red Sox, which is a big market team.
Right.
But for some reason, he's one of those guys that doesn't get the hobby love that he probably deserves. And I'm not as confident as most people that he'll get it in San Diego because he's just going to be overshadowed. In my opinion, he's going to be overshadowed by Tatis. He's going to be overshadowed by Soto for sure. Those two guys. And I think those two guys, their values will increase if the whole team plays better. Those two guys, Tatis and Soto, will be, I'm assuming, main contributors. And then, the Bogaerts, and even Manny Machado to a certain degree, like they'll almost be like the secondary guys behind Tatis and Soto if everyone is playing to the optimal level. So I think Bogaerts, and I look at his power numbers, it's crazy. In 2019, he hit 33 home runs, and that was his most ever. The following year, he hit 23. Actually, 2021, he hit 23. The 2020 was the pandemic year. And then 2022, just this past season, he had 15 home runs. So his power is coming down for whatever reason. He could certainly get it back, but he's just like more of a high batting average guy. Like he's a very good hitter. Like he could get on base. Right. And those guys don't get as much love as Aaron Judge and Alonso, like the home run hitter guys, right? So I'm not as high on investing in Bogaerts, although I love him as a player. So I'm gonna I think his Bowman Chrome right now is at 250. Like it's been pretty sideways for a long time.
It'll probably sit. Yeah, it'll probably sit sideways for a long time
right.
until the supply dries up. That's all I'm saying. Okay. There's gonna be a buying period where the supply dries up. It's like try finding a Mike Trout, Bowman Chrome auto on eBay. How many of them pop up every day?
It's true.
Well, maybe more now because people are giving up on Trout, but yeah, I think think of what we talked about and what we witnessed as a whole hobby. It's like we've seen this massive correction, okay, over the last 2 years. So unsustainable prices, ridiculous prices, were they worth that? No chance, right? Mm-hmm. Boom, everything comes crashing into proper correction. It's not saying it's crashing and it's like it's worth nothing now. It's like, no, that's not what what I'm implying. I'm saying, it's a major correction. So it includes every correction, including underrated players. Yeah. Right? So it's like not until they get the love, but once they get the love because they've established that career. When their career war, like when Machado's career war is at 80 or 90 now, think of those Pujols refractors, the Ichiro refractors that you're like, damn it, I knew I should have bought.
Right.
Right? That's what I'm saying. This is early. We're in the planting of the seeds right now. So it's like if a correction is going to come both ways, and it's happening, right? We've seen it. We said it. It's going to get worse. But some cards are still cheap for what they're worth. That's all I'm saying.
All right. I hear ya. I'm a quick flipper, though, so I can't wait.
Know.
I can't wait that long.
You got a bunch of paper-handed people here, man.
I'm selling everything now. But, actually, I mentioned this while I was talking about Bogaerts. Quick thoughts on Tatis and Soto prices because of Bogaerts coming over.
Man, I think they are overpriced, to be honest, as crazy as that sounds. So I think you're gonna see a correction regardless. They could do whatever. I still believe in the correction, unless like Soto hits like 50 home runs, or hits like 330, or Tatis drops 50, and then you'll see another bump, I think. But if they play like they're gonna play good baseball, because think, if you have 9 superstars on a team, which nowadays everybody's worth 10 million plus on the roster, right? Somebody has to get out.
Right.
You know what I mean? I always use that analogy when people inflated stats in basketball. If you have a really bad team and no superstar, somebody's going to have to score the points. So are they true starter points, kind of, right? So it's kind of like that same concept. Yeah.
Okay. So I should sell my Tatis cards.
I'm a hold. I sell my Tatis cards. I think
after this podcast, I'm gonna list them.
I think the Bogaerts. For me, I think it helps, man, because it's not gonna explode them to the moon. But I think everybody's kind of waiting on the sidelines, possibly looking to buy some more Tatis, possibly looking to buy a bit more Soto. That's certainly like the three of us. And adding another big bat like this, I think it just helps the excitement overall of that team, and adds to a bit of the hype as you go into the preseason. So I think, like Clark, you hit it like perfectly. Tatis and Soto are the main dudes. So any kind of hype the Padres receive, if they add another crazy pitcher or whatever they end up doing, I think it'll just sort of funnel into Tatis and Soto prices. So I think this kind of stuff will certainly help.
Yeah, I hope so. I believe in the Padres with that lineup, right? But on the flip side, if the Padres don't perform, right, for whatever reason, they don't gel, oh man, like, you got to sell quick. Prices are going to start dipping. But come on, that's a major lineup.
You have too many A players there that somebody's going to pick up the team.
I hope so.
Padres were competitive last year still, even without Tatis. They're borderline playoff team, and
a down year by Soto.
Down year by Soto, which I will say not as bad as people think. It's not a panic sell, because OPS, man, will tell you everything. He still hit 247, and that was a down year for Soto, and we all know it. But he's drawing 130 something walks, and still on base percentage is over 400. His OPS is probably mid 800 still. To me, it's like that tells me a lot. It shows me that he's consistent. That his approach is consistent. So we're talking about, it's not like down year Soto lost it. It's like, no, you could tell by his approach, just by his stats, just by his walks alone, that he has an idea of what he's doing. So for me, like Soto, like I said earlier in the show, he's a modern day. I know purists are gonna hate this, but Ted Williams, man, like it's somebody who's just a freaking pure hitter that is considered one of the best hitters of all time in this generation. Soto can be that guy. Yeah,
for sure. Oh, that's one of my top targets for sure in the offseason. Juan Soto, absolutely. Well said. All right. I'm sure there will be more signings in the offseason, so we'll do a part 2 once we hear of other big name signings. So stay tuned, everyone. All right, let's go on to our next segment we call Dead Wrong. We haven't done this in a while, but since we are wrapping up the 2022 year, I'm sure there's 1 or 2 or 3 calls that we made about the hobby or about a certain player or a card that didn't turn out the way we thought it would. So in the name of accountability, let's share the things we were dead wrong about this year. And you know what? I could start because I started writing a list and I'm like, wow, this list is getting long. So I'm going to cut it up to maybe 3 or 4. I'll cut it up to 2 to begin with because maybe you guys have the same names on my list. But okay, I'm just going to get this over with. Trae Young. Okay, I was on him. I doubled down, sold my PSA 9, got a PSA 10 for 800, which I thought was a good deal. I just sold my PSA 10 last week for 400, so I just took a 50% cut.
Wow.
I don't know what's wrong with the Hawks. You would think with DeJounte Murray, they're like under 500 now, right? And I mean, they're competing with the Raptors. We're just very mediocre teams this season, and Trae Young's not. He has good games, but then he has games where he's just like pretty average, and just still no hobby love for a guy like Trae Young. I just ran out of patience. So I said I will give him 1 year. I'm pulling out already. 2022 done. 2023 I'm looking to invest elsewhere. Sorry guys for anyone that listened to me about Trae Young, but just no hobby love for that guy. Number 2, I already mentioned this guy too, and this guy's gonna make me look real foolish if he goes all the way to the Super Bowl. He's the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts. I was never on the guy. I told people that he was too hyped up preseason, and his team's 13-1 right now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I guess he is a good QB. I guess he's playing on a good team. So Jalen Hurts, dead wrong. You should have bought him. Sorry, guys. So those are the top 2 guys. I have a couple more. We'll see how much time we have on the show, but yeah, who wants to go next?
Oh man, for me it was probably football. I was relying on kind of like the old veterans, Aaron Rodgers, with Green Bay, and Russell Wilson with the Broncos. And Broncos are just hurting.
Oh, yeah.
They're just hurting in every single aspect just from day one. So yeah, I mean, football's not our forte, but
we should every time we talk about football, we should put a disclaimer on the segment. Yeah. This is the least knowledgeable area for us, but yeah, I hear you.
I think I was dead wrong on anything I talked about in 2022. The entire collection.
It was a rough year.
Oh man, Jalen Hurts was on my list. I think Clark, you and I didn't think he was that dude. He's certainly proving everyone wrong, and for those that invested in or picked up Hurts early, man, good for you guys. You guys are doing well. Mine, I mean, embarrassingly, it's got. I don't remember if I mentioned Karl Anthony Towns at the beginning of this season. I got to put Karl Anthony Towns on that list because I was
finally comes around. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the talent is still there, but he is just doing himself such a disservice by yapping and talking on social media when nothing has been accomplished. I think in the new era of sports, there are a lot of old heads like us watching, and even the newer guys. Like I think when you yap and you talk and you trash talk, and you big yourself up before you've accomplished anything, that's just such a bad look for you in general. And Karl Anthony Towns is just one of those guys, man. The talent is there, but I think the immaturity that he showed in playoffs, the way he talks and how, I mean, you gotta talk hockey. I get it, but I think it just
is he in the LeBron category for you?
For sure.
Yeah, it seems like it's going that way.
Yeah,
like you're putting him into that LeBron category.
That's just like pet peeves for me in general, right? Like guys who big themselves up and talk a bit of nonsense. So yeah, I don't know where
we talk some nonsense, John.
We talk nonsense. That's true.
We do.
Yeah,
we do. Do you still have his tie-dye?
I do. I still have it. I probably should have bailed on it a long time ago, but I still have it.
You might as well hold now.
I was hoping, I was hoping to hold this year for one last shot, and then he gets injured for like 2-3 months. Like, there it goes. See you later.
Yeah, to be fair, the Timberwolves, they were just hyped up at the beginning of the season. Yeah. They are not performing as well as expected for sure.
Yeah, Rudy Gobert, another clown.
Oh, that was a tough signing.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a couple more real quick. I bought a Justin Herbert field level silver PSA 10 at the beginning of the season. I thought the Chargers would do well, and he's not really all dead wrong yet because I think their team's 7-6.
Yeah, you can turn it up at the end.
Just got to squeak it into the playoffs, and then I think in week 2 or 3 he got cracked ribs, and he's still playing with cracked ribs to tell you the truth. Yeah. So I think that has something to do with it, but as a result, he's not performing like last year's Justin Herbert. So definitely his values have seen a drop. And but I still there's still a chance that Herbert can turn things around for sure. But as of right now, he's kind of in that dead wrong category. And the last guy I had for baseball, I thought this guy would be the guy.
Luis Robert, we know it.
Luis Robert, you got it. You got it.
I think everybody. The funny thing is, he might have a big year, like upcoming, where we're 1 year off. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just people are forgetting about him now. So,
he's mature. He's older.
I hope so. I hope the White Sox turn things around. Injuries,
man.
That's true. Injuries kind of derailed them. But another guy to look out for next year. But this year, he was dead wrong in terms of what I thought he would do.
That's the hot take is Luis Robert 2023 MVP.
We'll do that at the end of the year.
I think we have
beginning of the season. Yeah.
2022 MVP, dead wrong. But 2023, let me tell you.
And Bol too. I don't know why his name came up, but he is playing, man. I'm telling you, it's fun to watch. He's fun to watch. I think I enjoy watching him play. Yeah,
seriously,
Bol, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
something with the Orlando Magic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's true, because on my Instagram feed, I'm seeing a lot of Bol highlights these days.
Yeah, he's actually going to work, man.
Yeah, that's good to see. All right, next week, to make us feel a little better, we'll do a segment on calls that we were right on and made us look like a genius, okay? So we'll balance our dead wrong segment for today.
It'll be like a 15-minute segment of silence.
Do your research now, then get ready for next week's show. All right, with that, let's get right into our regular weekly segment, Pick One. And if you're one of our first-time listeners, this is when we each put up a couple of players or cards, and then we debate which one we would rather invest in. And as usual, we're going to ask Hyung to start things off.
All right, I'm going to stick with baseball again. We're going first Bowman Chromes. 2005 Justin Verlander auto.
Okay.
PSA 10. Last sold for $1,500. So this is like a $1,500 budget versus a 2016 Bowman Chrome first of Fernando Tatis Jr. So the auto PSA 10 sold for $1,500. So if you're spending your $1,500, are you still going young prospect, or are you going old Hall of Fame vet? Same price, $1,500. You have $1,500 to burn.
Tatis, I'll go first. It's Tatis. And for me, and I come from the perspective because these two cards wouldn't necessarily be either PC or something that I would want in my collection. I guess it would be different if you're like a big Verlander fan or a Tatis fan, Tatis fan. I'm sorry, being a bit biased, I am a Tatis fan. But these are two cards that I wouldn't necessarily keep. So for me, it would be a flip situation on these two cards. And there's no question, I think the Tatis card has the opportunity for some big volatility, whereas the Verlander will be sort of like a nice, steady, up and down growth. So it's going to be Tatis for me. I'm going to be sort of like the flipper on this one.
Yeah, I have the BGS version of that Tatis card. So I will go Verlander because I already have a Tatis. But if I didn't have either of these cards, yeah, I'm going to gamble. I'm going to go with Tatis. I think the upside, like John said, the upside is there for Tatis to double that value if he puts a 40, 50 home run season. And Verlander, he's a pitcher. Like you said, like he's one of those guys you just got to hold long term. It won't lose its value. But I like the opportunity to make a few bucks as an investor, as a flipper, more with Tatis's rookie card.
Nice. I'm actually going to go Verlander. Well, because I do have monsters of Tatis that like,
right.
I'm fine with. I'm happy. But if I didn't have one, I'd probably lean towards Tatis, to be honest. just like Clark, similar to Clark, like that's a good potential, right? But there is some risk to both. But I just think the Verlander, like I said, it's the season of correction. It's the season of correction. So it's like corrections happen in every single way, good and bad. And some people were criminally low. So I think like a card like a Verlander first Bowman Chrome, PSA 10, like eventually will be very, very valuable too. Like I think even more valuable than a Tatis potentially when the correction happens, right? Obviously there's going to be some hype to it because Tatis is the flashy player. He's the face of baseball. So that's the volatility you get, but he has to keep up that pace to keep up those prices.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Almost a sweep. I'm surprised that
I'm surprising myself every week, but that's what.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, fellas.
All right, Johnny, you're up next.
Yep. So we're inching closer to Topps Chrome Basketball coming back. So I'm going to say when Topps Chrome Basketball does come back, and at this point, assuming Prizm still has license, are you guys this is for basketball, are you guys going Topps Chrome Refractor, the return of the refractor, or are you sticking with Prizm Silver? Topps Chrome Refractor versus Prizm Silver.
If Topps Chrome has the basketball license, doesn't that mean Panini loses it?
Unless they buy him out.
Yeah. So just for the sake of the argument of this, let's say Panini,
they both have license.
Right, they both have license.
Right. Okay. I can go first with this one. I guess if they buy them out, things might be a bit different in terms of how it's managed. But right now, I just think Panini America is like dropping the ball in so many different areas that the Prizms being a little bit devalued. Maybe it's the overproduction or the perception of being overproduced. And Topps Chrome, like people are looking forward to. It's like almost the nostalgia factor. So I think people are looking forward to seeing the new Topps Chrome basketball product when it does come back. And I think in terms of value, people will be willing to pay for it. I think it'll look cool. Yeah, just for those reasons, I'm going with Topps Chrome Basketball over Panini Prizm.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm excited about Fanatics and Topps Chrome back with basketball. So for me, it's if you look back in the micro or macro lens too, it's like think 2009 and then 2012 Panini came in, so it was the Panini era from 2012 to 2023, and then Topps Chrome's come back after like a 14-year hiatus or whatever. So I think that first set too is gonna be like collectible somewhat, depending obviously on when is it? When are they coming out? Do you know?
I have no idea.
So if it's
2024 or 2025,
yeah. So you probably just miss Wemby.
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah. So that kind of sucks. So hopefully the class is good, but I'm going Topps Chrome, just because Topps Chrome basketball was so good before. So just excited for, having it in that product.
Oh, it is going to be, I'm a bit biased because I love Topps Chrome Refractor basketball. It's going to be a sweep, but this is kind of tough because I think from an investment standpoint, Prizm Silver is, without question, it's one of those hobby logic type of cards where silvers are fairly common, but for some reason, the silver value is kind of like the gold standard in basketball. This is going to be interesting to see how Fanatics, for me, takes Topps Chrome basketball, because I really, really hope they don't screw it up, because Topps Chrome refractors in baseball don't really mean much. Topps Chrome refractors anywhere, we're talking like, maybe because of print runs, F1 is pretty good, but like soccer, etc., it just doesn't have that legendary lore that the Topps Chrome basketball has, and obviously it's because of print run, right? So I don't know how they're gonna do this. Like in an ideal world, I wish Topps Chrome came back very limited and it was kind of similar to the old days where there's only like 2 refractors in a box, not like baseball where there's a refractor in every pack, and then any color is numbered. There's like gold and black and white refractors, orange refractors. That'd be amazing, but obviously print runs aren't going to let that happen. So I'm kind of scared we're going to start seeing like ray wave and shimmers and stuff like that for basketball.
Oh, you're going to get it.
I know, which I'm going to be so sad about. Like I don't want to see that in the Topps Chrome basketball
For sure
product.
You're getting the waves.
But yeah, so this one's a bit tricky. Like the fan in me says Topps Chrome refractor, but the investor in me, I'm not so sure. Like I'm maybe that first year there's going to be some crazy hype because of the comeback, but I am praying that Panini does the return of Topps Chrome basketball right.
Yep. Definitely hope that's the case. And we'll find out soon. I just checked. It's 2025. 2025. I believe the license is when they get it.
There you go.
So not that much longer. All right, good one. I'm going to end off with hockey just to balance things out. Young Guns, PSA 10, McDavid versus Young Guns PSA 10 for Crosby's rookie card. So essentially Crosby versus McDavid, both Young Guns, both PSA 10, and they're both hovering around 3K.
Wow. There's going to be a theme here with me. It's all like if you asked me a year ago, it would be McDavid. But for me, I'm going correction. I'm staying with my theory of correction, right? And supply's dry. 2003, 2005 is Young Guns for Crosby.
Crosby's 2005, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, good luck with finding, like, how many PSA 10s are available? Do you know?
I'm going to check right now.
My theory's probably wrong.
700-ish?
Probably all these. No, that's the pop count, but like for sale,
like
on
for
eBay,
sale.
as opposed to like a Connor McDavid. So it's like, the liquidity, you could pick up the Connor McDavid whenever because he's still going to be hot. Right. It's going to be more volatile. But then that Crosby is like, can I get this? Is 3,000 actually a good buy-in for a long-term investment, right? So for me, I'm going to pick Crosby.
Wow. Didn't see that coming.
Just to I know that you didn't ask about the pop count, but just to give a reference point, Sidney Crosby's Young Guns PSA 10 pop count's 927, and for McDavid it is 2,420.
Okay,
so a little more than 2x. Yeah,
2.5.
Oh man, I was gonna pick McDavid, but now Hyung has got me thinking. I mean, like I was going to say the Crosby card, that's the card that I came back into the hobby in 2005 after taking about almost a 10-year hiatus just to chase Crosby. And I went after the Young Guns card. I think back then, I don't remember how much hobby boxes were, but I could have went to the hobby store and bought raw. I mean, at that time, there was no grade. I mean, I didn't even know the existence of grading. I don't even know if it was available other than SGC. But you could have picked up Crosby raw Young Guns for like $50 Canadian at that time.
Wow.
And I remember thinking I should just go out and buy these, like, instead of like opening up these hobby boxes. But then I also thought, what's the fun in that? Like it's more fun opening boxes, right? And I never ended up picking any of those raw cards. I should have. But the Crosby Young Guns was always sort of like a grail chase for me, especially more so the Future Watch. But ooh. I agree with everything Hyung says, and I think Crosby is going to be on that list to pick up right now, and I think he is kind of right about the correction. But there's something about McDavid I can't get away from. I think in terms of what I want both, but what I would go for first right now is, for me, it's McDavid. I think hockey is still not completely in the limelight, and I don't know if it ever will be. It seems to always kind of be stuck in that neutral gear in terms of the hobby. But McDavid, as a character within hockey, in the hockey segment, is going to be up first and in the forefront of every collector, and I think McDavid is that dude. So, and he's playing, so the volatility will go up and down. So I think I think both are to be in somebody's collection if you are a investor, both deserve to be in there. But if you don't have both, I would go for the McDavid first, because I think there's going to be opportunities, and it'll move. It's liquid, all of the above. So yeah, McDavid for me.
Wow, that surprises me. Since you're a huge Crosby
I
know. Man, okay. The tiebreaker. It just makes sense, total sense, to go for Crosby. Lower pop count, already has the resume. I'm going with McDavid.
I felt it coming.
McDavid is just playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah.
People are talking about a 150-point season.
Yeah, it looks like
that's
possible.
In reach.
Yep.
And if that happens, and I'm just looking at the trend lines, I've been doing these things on Instagram where just kind of showing how far some of the card values have fallen. The young guns for Connor McDavid has gone the opposite. It has gone against the grain of our current recession, has gone against the grain of the bubble bursting on some of these sports cards. It's trending upwards, and at 3K it's steady at that level. And I think if he continues to play the way he's playing, I like the volatility of McDavid. It could go even higher, I think, despite the 2,500 pop count. So just exciting to watch McDavid play. Although obviously I love Crosby as a Canadian hockey fan, but I'm going with McDavid in this case. All right, a lot of surprises for this episode. I guess we're all changing when it comes to the hobby and our taste and our opinions. But that's part of the fun, being part of this hobby. We kind of grow and learn and evolve accordingly. All right, at this point, as promised, we're gonna pick the winner of of our 100th episode contest. So actually, Johnny, pick a number from 1 to 5, and I'll randomize the list that
we'll
many
go with
times.
4.
So, 4? Okay. It's going to be riveting on podcast while I press this 4 times. But, okay, number 1. The winner is BT Cards, BTCARDZ. So congratulations. I'll reach out to you, DM you on Instagram, and then we'll figure out a way to get you the Topps Chrome Blaster Box. And hopefully we'll get to do more of these giveaways going into 2023. We're hoping to have more video content on our YouTube channels as well. So a lot of exciting things to look forward to. Hyung, you want to say something?
Yeah, last thing. We did create some content that we want to, maybe 5 card guys can, play. It's basically we ripped Bowman Chrome with Denzel Clark, who's a Oakland Athletics prospect, trying to chase him. So we had this big bounty where
Nice.
if we hit his superfractor, but what the odds of the superfractor wasn't great, but we're gonna produce content like that. So check it out. Yeah.
It's a good tease. Yeah, we'll definitely play that, and we'll definitely let you guys know where you can see that video that's coming up, I think, pretty soon, because we had Denzel Clark come in last week, just recently.
Last week.
So
yeah, that's right.
So thanks for the reminder, and we'll definitely tell you guys about that. All right, that wraps up this episode 101. Thanks again for all our listeners, subscribers, tuning in week after week. We appreciate you guys. If you haven't already, we really appreciate if you gave us 5 stars wherever you listen to your podcast. Leave a nice comment. It really helps with getting our podcast name out there. And we hope to wrap up this year with a few more episodes left with some good shows, and then take that momentum into 2023. All right, guys. Thanks. We'll see you soon. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening to Cards to the Moon. We'd really appreciate you subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can also connect with each of us on Instagram at 5cardguys, or you can follow Hyung at Integrity Sports Cards, or John at TradeU at Recess. You can also check us out at 5cardguys.com. Thanks again, and hope to connect soon.